Hey, my name's Julian Faust. Welcome to the show. Today I'm joined by Linda Callahan. Linda, welcome and thanks for joining me.
Thanks very much, Julian. I appreciate being invited.
Of course, yeah. I'd just like to start off and talk about what you're doing currently in your career. I know that you work at Walking on Sunshine and Power as well. Can you talk about how those two things intersect and work with one another?
Absolutely. So, I was introduced to power through another renewable energy seller, if you will. And under power, I am an independent contractor. So, in order to build my business and for tax structure as well, being an LLC helps with when I'm filing taxes as an independent contractor. And then it also enables me to build a team of sellers under my business. So my business is Walking on Sunshine, and I'm under the umbrella of Power, which is a national renewable energy platform.
hmm And do you see a lot of other companies or independent contractors doing the same thing, where they're building their own companies, creating an LLC, and then trying to build a sales team under them? Or is that more of a rare occurrence?
It is definitely a rare occurrence. And actually, the company Power that I am an independent contractor for, they came into existence 10 years ago, mainly to change the model of the way that solar's been done. So this structure is new in this industry because it really needed to be done differently. There's a lot of solar companies, if you will, that have salespeople under them, and their model is different. It's called a red line model, and the pricing of it is different. The structure of it is different, and it doesn't give the seller or the sales team a whole lot of leverage. With this platform model, the salesperson or seller, as an independent contractor, has a lot more opportunity to build their business, if you will, but have the structure of this platform to be able to not only build a sales organization that you head up, but the pay scale is completely different as well. You are paid the highest amount as a seller under this platform model with Power.
Can you go a little bit more into that?
So when I say platform model, when I'm explaining that to a homeowner, for example, what I ask them is, what's the first thing you think of when you hear a platform model? And a lot of people, if they understand it, they'll say Amazon, for example. Is Amazon a platform? Amazon is the most successful platform model out there. Lyft and Uber is another platform model. Airbnb is another platform model. And when you think of just those platforms, each of them really disrupted the industry that they're in, meaning they're very successful, low overhead, but they satisfy a huge need in each of their niches. When you think of Amazon, really, you can get anything under the sun pretty much through Amazon in every country. When you think of Lyft and Uber, you're pretty young, but when I was your age, the only way to get transportation outside of your driving and outside of a bus or a train was through a taxi. Lyft and Uber came out with a platform and made it super easy for a consumer anywhere you are with a phone to get a ride anywhere from point A to point B. So those are really, really effective platforms. And then Airbnb. When you're traveling with a family, it's easy to stay at a hotel, but when you rather stay at a house where you can park your car, not have to pay for it, cook meals for your family, a lot of times pick one with a pool so the kids are entertained, and then you can choose the proximity to where you're going on vacation. It totally disrupted the way that hotels do business because now they have competition, you know? And when you're traveling with your family or as a business person, it's so much easier to stay close to where your meeting is, but be able to cook yourself a meal without having to go out if you're there 3 or 4 days. So the way that the renewable energy platform disrupted the industry was A, no one else is doing it, and B, why open one brick and mortar location in every state that you want to be in versus having a platform model that sellers in every location you're in can access your proposal tool, your materials, your warranty, everything is on that platform. So you can access it from Colorado and sell to your friends and family in Illinois because they're all on the platform. But the installers are local to where that project is. And our installers are all on our platform as well, as are our partners for panels, inverters, batteries. We can offer a variety of products because all of our partners are on our platform.
And have you found it a lot easier to find customers that will you find a great match for your customer where they get exactly what they want because of the platform model and how
Yes.
everything's offered on there?
Yes. Yes. And another nice thing about it, though, is that, like I said, I know the Illinois market very well because I'm from Illinois. But if my friend in Illinois said, listen, I'd like to give you a referral, you did a great job for me, but my friend lives in New Jersey. Well, I don't really know the New Jersey market, and I want to do a really good job for this referral. We have a whole network of sellers out there that I can just reach out to through my platform and say, hey, I've seen that you've done a lot on our platform for homeowners in New Jersey. I have a referral that I would like to work with you to show them what solar looks like for them. This partner in New Jersey knows the utilities really well. They know all the discounts and rebates that are available in their market, and I want to do the best job for this referral. So I'm going to partner with them and split that commission with them to ensure that my homeowner gets the best solar for that area. That's another thing, you know. Panels that might be great in Florida are not going to be great. You know, there's more shading, there's more cloudiness, there's it's a different market entirely. So it makes sense for me to partner with that seller in that market because they're going to get the best for my homeowner that lives there. And it makes it really a win-win-win. I get a referral from my homeowner that I did a great job for, and they're going to know that their friend or family that they're referring is also going to get the best incentives and the best equipment because we're working with a local installer and partner.
Hmm. Yeah, and then you know that they're good too because they have great ratings on the platform, I'm guessing, and you get to help people out and be the
Correct.
good person there. Yeah, that's
Correct.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. And this platform really does let us know who are the top agents in that market, who's doing the best. And plus, I'm on Zooms all the time and I see a lot of these people every week. And you pretty much know who the involved ones are. So,
Hmm.
yeah. But the plat definitely does give um, precedence to who's doing the most in that market.
Yeah. And just switching topics a little bit to sales within the industry, I know that door knocking is just a huge business developmental way of getting customers in residential.
Hmm.
What works well with it, but then also what are some struggles you see with that?
Okay. I love face to face. I've been in sales, business to business in my when I first started out of college, and then this is business to consumer. So they're both getting out and talking to people, but that's my strength, and I really enjoy talking to people. So when I first started in the renewable energy space, I was a little gun shy, if you will, and I didn't really have enough practice in knowing what the homeowner was going to say to me. Oh, you know what? You're the fifth solar salesperson to come by here. We're not interested. It's like, ah. So, being now that this is my third year in doing this, I know a lot of the, rebuttals they're going to have, objections they're going to have, questions they're going to have. So I'm more well versed in how to even start the conversation. And then, secondly, when they say something like that, to answer it with a question. Oh, yes, I would imagine you you know why there's a lot of people coming by, because we have about 350 days a year of sunshine, and your roof is a perfect candidate. So what happened when these other people came by? Did you get a proposal done? And then just start the conversation that way instead of, you know, like a deer in the headlights. But it's this time of year, as we head into spring, more and more people are going to go out. I personally went out in October and November on the nice days because we really do have great weather here. I put on a jacket. I don't mind if it's a little chilly, and had conversations with people when no one else was out there. So now, all these people that I met in the fall, I'm following up with them now because they like to wait till the spring.
That's a
And
good way to get your foot in the door and yeah,
definitely, definitely.
get to the customer before everyone else does. Yeah.
Right.
And so do you think it's all good? What are some of the struggles you have? Or I know that you're looking to run teams with getting appointment setters as well. Do
Mhm.
you really like that process or what's difficult about that too?
Um, I really do like the process because you can either, like, I in the summer I have a stand that I set up at the farmers market in Fruta, which is a little town just west of us. And there you kind of wait for the homeowner to come to you. Oh, solar. Yeah, my neighbor just went solar. We had some questions about it. It's more passive. Um, with knocking on doors and talking to homeowners, I can see their roof. I could see if there's trees. I could see if they need a new roof. I can recommend a roofer. Or I could see a brand new roof and no solar, and, start a conversation. And a lot of times it really just depends on the mood of the person. Like if they're like, give me kind of a funny, it's like, oh, great. What are you selling? You know, so I might just say, well, I just noticed that a lot of your neighbors are utilizing this beautiful sun in our valley for their energy. And I noticed your real estate is empty up there. What are your thoughts on solar? Have you taken a look at that? Oh, yeah, we thought about it. And then you get them talking. And a lot of times it's a great icebreaker because they really do sometimes look at you. I definitely have age on my side. Like when I was young, like you, people would, you know, they don't care what your feelings are. It's like, no, we're not interested, whatever you're selling. With age, they're a little nicer to me, and it's really strange. They really are. So I use it to my advantage. I use it to have a conversation, um, and everyone's got their reasons. Sometimes they're not staying in the house. Sometimes they're moving in a couple of years. Well, you're not going to make a $30,000 investment when you're leaving in a couple of years. So
I really like your conversational strategy. It just seems very down to earth and not very salesy. So that's a good approach for door to door that I like.
yeah.
And when it comes to business development, but within the commercial side, I would assume that door knocking is a bit more difficult there. But what do you do for that process?
So mostly commercial. Like today, I stopped by a couple of churches that had schools attached to them, And here's an interesting thing is that's a great way because churches on Mondays, not a lot of people there, but there's an office person there. So I found that instead of leaving a message for the pastor, I go in there, introduce myself, tell them that I'm doing proposals for quite a few churches in the area, and the reason being, you're you have programs during the week. Your biggest day is Sunday. You still have to heat the building and air condition the building, and you know this look at solar is a way to offset these huge bills, and it also has an end date. So instead of paying the utility company, you turn that payment into a solar payment, and then after, you know, 20 years, the system is paid for. Or you can, pay it down faster if you wanted. We give you those, we show you what that scenario looks like. But one has an end date, and one is you're renting your energy. So when you look at solar, you're just taking that payment you're already making to the utility, but you're paying it down towards an asset that you eventually are going to own. And then it's paid off.
Hmm.
And then
Okay.
what do you do with that money that you were paying that? Send some of your youth groups, on a mission to another country, and you could start thinking of what you're going to do with that money as you're paying down this beautiful asset that you're going to have for 40 plus years.
Okay, yeah. Currently, what kind of metrics are you most focused on improving within your business right now?
Well, the amount of people that I talk to, that's why I'm trying to build a team, because I am one person and I'm focusing on residential, like Mondays, Tuesdays are mostly residential focused. And then as far as door knocking, Saturdays and Sundays. I usually pick one of those days because I have to have a personal day. Otherwise, I won't be any good to anyone. So when I can focus on building a team, I really am trying to bring in more homeowner facing businesses because it's a win-win for all involved. So when I say homeowner facing business, roofing companies, I mean roofing goes best with solar. They're talking to homeowners all the time. So are HVAC people, so are window people, so are plumbers. So what I do is when I see a truck that is any of those businesses, or I see them working on a home, I will just stop and introduce myself and let them know I'm a solar professional working with homeowners in the area, and you are also working with homeowners in the area. So what I like to explain to them is when you're there working on the roof, HVAC, plumbing, whatever it is, you can clearly see if they have solar on the roof or not. How would you feel about asking the homeowner a question that, believe me, is on everyone's mind? Have you noticed your utility bill going up? Have you noticed that it's more this year than it was last year at this time? Most people are not going to say no to that. If it's
Hmm.
a widower or sometimes an elderly couple, they're a little bit more conservative on their electricity usage because a lot of them are on a fixed income, so they're a little bit more aware of it. Um, but if they say, "Oh my, yes, I have," well, have you noticed a lot more solar going up in your area as well? And most people are going to say yes as well because we are in a valley that this is my third year, as I mentioned, it's increased a lot around here. So if they get a yes to both of those questions, then I simply would ask them to say, I partner with a solar professional in this valley. Would you be open to, if I shared your information with her and she reached out to offer you a free solar analysis? Some
No
say
one's
yes.
saying no to that. Yeah.
But some of these professions are really spread thin, and it's like they don't want to add one more thing to their plate. That's what I have found the most here. So it's roofers have been a little bit easier because again, they're replacing a roof. They're going to have a brand new roof. What goes better with a brand new roof to me than solar? But again, a roof is anywhere from 15 to $35,000. That's a big chunk of a budget. So when you offer, hey, I noticed you don't have solar. Is it something you've thought about? Well, I don't have it now, but I train them to say, well, you don't need any money down. All you're doing is switching a payment you're already making to the utility company, except you're putting it towards an asset that you're going to own. And it's a flat fixed payment. You're going to know every month what that payment is versus your utility that goes, up and down and up and down. Flat fixed payment that has an end date that adds value to your home. That's how I explain solar.
Is it a flat rate for the installation, but once you start using power, then it turns into a not fixed rate?
No, so the way solar works is, and the only way that I know how much solar a homeowner is going to need is by looking at their electricity usage. So that's why I always have to see a utility bill. So I find out who their utility company is, and then I say, I would love to show you what this could look like for you. But I don't know how much electricity you use. I would need to look at your utility bill. And on the page one of the utility bill, at least Excel Energy here and Grand Valley Power here, it shows 12 months worth of usage on page one in the bar graph. So I look at that, and then I also ask the homeowner. I do a discovery call just so I can make sure that I know how old their roof is. Are they going to need a new roof? Now, if the referral is from a roofer, I don't need to ask them that. But how old is your roof? Do you have a jacuzzi or a pool? If you don't, do you have plans of getting one? Is anyone moving in or moving out? So we can account for, well, if someone's moving in, if a kid's moving back home, or they're a parent's moving in, there's going to be higher electricity usage than what's been reflected in these 12 months. So we want to account for that. Um, do you have an electric vehicle, or do you have a plan of getting one? If they do, then that's accounted for. How long have you had it? Oh, you got it 6 months ago. So I can maybe see a bump in their usage. And now I know that that's because they're charging an electric vehicle now. I ask, do you want to have a battery? What the battery is going to give you is energy backup, or, if there's a power outage, you're going to be able to switch over to your battery. If you don't have a battery, even if you have credits that are stored in the grid for when your panels produce all day long and you're only using X amount of the power, the credits that are built up, that's called net metering. And right now, our utility gives the homeowner 1-for-1 net metering credit. But if there's a power outage, it doesn't matter how many credits you have stored in the grid. If the grid's down, you need a battery to keep your lights on. So that's another in the educational process that I let people know. And right now, The utility one, so we have two big utilities here, Excel and Grand Valley Power. Excel is building what we call a virtual power plant. So
Hmm.
they're offering homeowners $5,000 towards the cost of their battery. Well, we have four different batteries, but they range from 11,000 to almost, 14,000. So getting $5,000 off towards your battery is a nice chunk of change. But the utility isn't just paying for that. They want in exchange to tap into your battery because they're building what we call a virtual power plant. So in the winter, when it's 100 plus degrees in this valley and everyone turns on their air conditioning, it puts a ton of pressure on the grid. And that's when utility companies get very nervous and they'll do brownouts and blackouts, rolling brownouts and blackouts. And people that aren't even using their air conditioning are now, they have to have their lights off for a while. So the utility is trying to avoid having to do that by building a virtual power plant. So they're asking people, hey, you're getting solar. Why don't you just get a battery? We'll give you $5,000 towards it. And then all we want from you is 60 times a year, we want to tap into your battery. When there's a lot of pressure on our grid, we want to be able to say, hey, we're going to use a little of your power. They can't use more than 60% of the battery, and they cannot do it more than 60 times a year.
Seems like a pretty good deal. Everyone's winning over there. Yeah.
Yeah. But people that do not like Excel and don't trust them, they're like, not a chance. I'll pay full price for my battery. I'm not letting them. So there's good and bad with it. But a lot of people
Yeah.
definitely, I mean, they've sold out of this, they've ran out of the funding twice already because they did this last year and now they're offering it again this year. And I have people that are like, well, I'm going to wait. I'm like, don't wait. You got to strike while the iron's hot because they're going to run out of funding. But I can't make people move faster. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. I
Sensible.
like that idea of the virtual box. Yeah, everyone's
Yeah.
everyone's winning there.
Virtual power plant, it's called. And it's a
Yeah.
brilliant idea.
Linda, if you could solve like one major challenge within your business today, what would that be?
I would I would really like all representatives of solar to do it for the right reason, and that is to help homeowners save money, switch to a cleaner energy, and do it with candor and and truth. Be honest. And there's a lot of people that are not. And it's really, really given this industry a bad name. Because what happens is companies hire sales organizations, if you will, and they train a bunch of guys and gals right out of college that are, they're hungry, they're driven, they're given these promises of, these are, fifteen to $20,000 systems. You sell a few of these, and we pay you $3,000 a project. You can make $15,000 in a week. That doesn't happen, for one. I mean, it might, but they don't really get paid an hourly or by appointment. Like our appointment setters get paid per appointment, and it's $50 per appointment. So whatever happens with that appointment, if they don't go solar, you're still paid for that appointment. If they do go solar, you get paid $2,000 for that person going solar, and that's paid when the solar is installed. Which in this neck, it's different per market. In this market, it's about 90 days from
Hmm.
contract signing to installation. But it's a construction project, and it could be longer. But you know, I'm in touch with my homeowners the entire process. I give them an update every week. But there's there's sellers out there that sell on price, and if the homeowner says, you know what, this is too expensive, instead of just moving on, they take panels off to make the price come down, and then it looks good to the homeowner. But guess what? Now it's not covering their entire usage. So now they're paying a utility bill still, and they're paying a solar bill. And I see this all the time. And it's unfair to the homeowner. They think they're doing a good thing, and they are doing a good thing. The solar representative is not they're not representing the industry or the homeowner fairly. So I wish I could change that. And when I knock on doors, and sometimes the south facing side is on the back of the house, so I can't see if they have solar, and I'll say, hi, how are you, I talking to homeowners about, I just put a couple of projects up and made two homeowners super happy, and just stopping to see what your thoughts are on solar. Oh, I have solar. And they're so happy and so proud, and a great experience. That's what I love to see. But I've also had people that are like, yeah, I got solar like 5 years ago, but my bill's still $150. I'm like, what? Why? Because their system wasn't built to absorb their usage. So it just makes me mad. But
Yeah, that's disappointing for sure.
it
And
is.
yeah, I understand that's a challenge for the entire solar industry and getting a better reputation. But specifically within your business, what's like one specific challenge you're facing that you hope to overcome?
I would say the availability of different services to offer the homeowner, like cash is king. That's easy. Then you own the system outright. Financing. I wish there were better financing rates. The rates are kind of high for financing, but it is a zero down program. The homeowner doesn't have to put any money down, and they pay nothing until the panels are installed on the roof. But I wish it was a better interest rate for the homeowner.
Hmm.
And then we have what are called power purchase agreements and leases. And that's where our third party partner warranties and maintains the system, and the homeowner just pays a flat fixed rate. Now, the downside to that is realtors hate that. It's not as easy to transfer ownership of the system. Like, it seems like it's cut and dried, but when a buyer comes to the home and they say, well, I just rented for my whole life, you know, now I'm buying my first home and you want me to rent my energy from the solar? I don't want to do that. I want to own it. So if I'm buying the house, I want to buy the energy. So that puts the pressure on the homeowner to then have to purchase the system before they move out. And a lot of times they're using the equity that they thought they had in their house to purchase the system, and it's giving solar a bad name. So
Hmm.
I just wish the transition of the system were easier for when you're selling the house. And when it's a lease or a power purchase agreement, again, it's renting. It really is. It's owned by a third party. And granted, they're moving into a flat fixed payment that's lower than what their neighbor who doesn't have solar is paying. It's definitely a lower payment, but the way it's perceived to them is, yeah, but I don't own it. When the lease is up in 20 years, then we'd have to buy the system. So that's something that I wish could be different. It's a flat fixed payment, but if you are buying your first home, you want to buy that solar with it. You don't want to rent that system. And that's kind of how it's viewed.
Mm-hmm. All right, yeah. And what marketing channels are you considering for like the next year to year and a half? Like, are you looking to advertise? I know we're on a podcast today, maybe doing some content creation or thought leadership in the community. How are you looking to grow the business?
Yes, definitely. And because of my age group, we don't like that stuff. We like hiring people to do it. So I do have a social media partner who's we're in our second year together. He's done great campaigns on LinkedIn, Facebook. I have my personal Facebook. I have Walking on Sunshine Facebook page. I have LinkedIn for Walking on Sunshine and Surge. And actually, we're adding Surge, which is my commercial platform. We're going to be adding that to my Facebook page. Um, but yeah, I definitely will be looking into more podcasts. Actually, I'm doing another podcast on Wednesday with a realtor.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I'm definitely looking into ways to launch, get myself out in front of people more. I'll do a quick video when I'm out hiking or biking, or and I'll just throw something. So look at the beautiful sunshine. I'm out enjoying it on the riverfront trail and blah blah blah. If you know anyone looking into, using this beautiful sun for their valley, have them call Linda, stuff like that. And then it gets all this traction and he's like, why don't you do that more regularly? Because I look on a camera, that's why. But I want to do a series on solar myths and misunderstandings.
That's a great way to promote yourself. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. And there's plenty of them, so I really need to. And then I'm also working on an evergreen marketing campaign that is kind of like it's going to be in webinar form, and it's basically an organic green natural, not shove it down your throat type of sales, which is so not me. It's a way for a homeowner to preview solar without the person on the other end, but introducing myself throughout it while they look at my webinar and they get glimpses of me and the do's and do nots and here's what to look for and then eventually get to, if you'd like to review this, what solar could look like for you, let's, get together, blah blah blah, and then they'd get my information. I'm like three-quarters of the way through it, but man, it's a lot of lot of information, a lot of slides, and I don't like talking about myself, but I'm getting better at it. But ChatGPT is definitely my best friend. Real estate and solar. I mean, who else is talking to homeowners more than me? Realtors. And I have gone to multiple offices in this valley, which is why I was saying to you, um, it's nice to be able to offer a power purchase agreement or a lease because that's attractive to someone who doesn't have tax liability. Right now the federal tax credit is still in play. So if you're buying a solar system, the federal government's paying 30% of it. You get, if you have a tax liability, you can use that tax credit to reduce your tax liability. Well, if you're, on a fixed income and you're retired, you don't have a lot of tax liability, so that federal tax credit's going to take 10 years for you to even use. So
Hmm.
you could do a lease or a power purchase agreement, and the third party owner takes that tax credit and they pay part of your system down, and then they use that reduced amount to give you a flat fixed rate. And they own and they warranty the system, but again, it's kind of like you're renting the system. But you're using a cleaner energy. You can buy it out after 5 years, but if you don't, as a realtor, it's a kind of a liability. It's like a utility bill is a liability. They don't look at it as a full asset, even though it's using a cleaner energy. But I like to talk with realtors about solar because however they view it, you're the trusted advisor for the homeowner or the home seller. So if they like solar, you really should be educated on what solar's all about. So what I'm doing is I've connected with a green certified realtor. He's a green broker for EXP, and he is in charge of developing the continuing educations. They're called CE credits, and realtors are required to have them every year. And so he puts the classes together, and now he's going to include a 30-minute segment on solar and real estate. And I'm going to be heading that up. So I am elated about that. So I won't be talking about power, of course, but I will be talking about benefits of solar, why homeowners like it, why some don't, and what you need to know when you're listing a home that has solar. What questions you need to ask the homeowner. Or if you sold a home with solar and now you're working with a buyer that wants to buy a home with solar, what to look for.
That's going to definitely be a great way to grow the content for sure. It was very great having you on today. Where can our audience find you at?
So, Walking on Sunshine is my Facebook page, and same with LinkedIn. I believe LinkedIn is under Linda Callahan. So LindaCallahan, and would love to answer any questions that come up as a result of watching this podcast. And I do have a website at www.powerpowr.com/Linda.Callahan.
Thank you, Linda.
My pleasure.